Hey everybody, welcome to Matt's Metal Show. Yeah. Today we're not going to talk about Saint Anger. I wanted to do something a little different today. I was thinking about this. Probably going to do a Gary Moore show pretty soon. I got to dig into some of them blues albums. But today I was going to go over some albums that I was listening to that I was like, let's talk about these albums. Don't always listen to metal. Listen to a lot of shit. So I wanted to talk about some albums that maybe you as a fucking viewer, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave fucking comments. So I'm going to talk about a bunch of albums that aren't necessarily metal that you should give a listen to. Some of my favorite albums, some of them are quite shocking. And some of them are not so shocking. Just albums that I kind of grew up with. I've always been a lover of music. When I was a kid, my mom was early Beatles. Like the kind of, I want to hold your hand kind of Beatles. Probably up to Rubber Soul. It was about my mom's version of the Beatles. She loved Barry Manilow. So I grew up listening to Barry Manilow a lot. Fucking awesome. Who else did she listen to? She listened to a lot of Christian stuff. Bill Gaither Trio. We listened to Peter, Paul, and Mary. And then she had, and I'll go with my first album that I'm going to tell you about. And, I didn't have it keyed up, so I'm fucking up already. Holy shit. Yep. There we go. Kind of a compilation album. It's called The Last Farewell and Other Hits. It's by a guy named Roger Whittaker. It came out in 1974. My mom loved this album. Roger Whittaker's this English. I think he's from one of the provinces or something, or what did they call it? Where they from South Africa or some shit like that. Big tinnery voice, like the whistle, did a bunch of whistling stuff. But my mom played this album a ton, and it kind of, we all have to look back and see what kind of shaped our musical landscape as a kid. And this album was huge for me. I still fucking love it, dude, to this day. It's got songs like New World in the Morning and Both Sides Now. I've looked at life from both sides now. Halfway up the mountain, Water Boy. Oh my God, it's such a good fucking song. Water Boy, where are you hiding? If you don't come right here, I'm gonna tear your paw on you. Yeah. It's got The Last Farewell, which actually Elvis covered right before he died. He did Last Farewell on one of the albums. I think it was Moody Blue. I don't believe in if anymore. It's got Good Morning Starshine. Durham Town, Jesus. Woo! I'm gonna leave old Durham Town. Sunrise Sunset from Fiddler on the Roof, man. This guy is fucking amazing. If you could go out and find some Roger Whittaker, there's a bunch of best stuff and a lot of live shit. He's still around. He's 1,000 years old. Amazing. So that was one of the things my mom kind of added on to me. Barry Manilow, we had the greatest hits, of course. We fucking loved Copacabana. Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl. But that was 30 years ago when there used to be a show. Now it's a disco, but not for Lola, right? Mandy, fucking... I write the songs that make the whole world sing. Do a metal version of that. On my dad's side, my dad he loved Black Sabbath, so he played Paranoid like a million fucking times, and I've told that story. I've been listening to Paranoid since I was probably an infant. Paranoid came out when I was like 6 months old or some shit like that. Maybe a year. I don't know. But he played that. He loved to play Simon and Garfunkel, especially the Greatest Hits album from '72. So as a kid growing up, I listened to you had the mom stuff when mom was home, and then when dad got home, there was a shift in music. But he loved Simon and Garfunkel, and that's a great album to start out with. But I would definitely say go get the individual albums, because there's a lot of Sound of Silence on the Greatest Hits album is like the live version, and it's kind of better to go back and get that studio version. The Greatest Hits, 1972. It had Mrs. Robinson, we all know from The Graduate, right? For Emily, wherever I may find her. It had The Boxer. Fuck. Lie, lie, lie. When I was a kid, man, we had these big speakers and everything. And every time they cracked that, lie, 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 it just sounded monstrous. I am just a poor boy, though my story's seldom told. I have squandered mine. Whatever. I'm digging way back. 59th Street Bridge, feeling groovy, right? Sound of Silence was always like my favorite song, and we've all seen the Disturbed version, which I love. I mean, some people hate Disturbed, but I fucking love that version. On here it's the live version, but like I said, I would go back and find Sounds of Silence from 66. I am a rock. I am an island. Jesus. The cool thing about Paul Simon is listen to his lyrics. He had some fucked up dark ass lyrics. Sounds of Silence, fucking The Boxer, and fuck, I'm a rock, and a rock feels no pain, and an island never cries. Right? It's got Scarborough Fair, which Queensryche covered. It's got Homeward Bound, Bridge Over Troubled Water, America, Kathy's song, El Condor Pasa, If I Could, I only would. It's got bookings in Cecilia. My dad loved this fucking album, and he played it constantly. But there's probably 3 albums that I could tell you that created most of my musical landscape from my dad's side, and that would be that album. It would be Paranoid from Sabbath, and then it would be an album from Elton John called Madman Across the Water. Madman Across the Water, man. Woo, from 1971, right? A lot of people it's weird because I've looked it up and stuff, and I've seen people and a lot of people think this is a lesser album than the stuff that came before. I fucking love this album. It's got Tiny Dancer on it. We all know Tiny Dancer, right? They sang it in the plane during Almost Famous when they were going to crash. LA lady, seamstress for the band, pretty eyes, pirate smile, you married a music man, ballerina. Fuck, this album is amazing. It's got Levon. Levon likes his money. It's got Razorface. Has anybody seen Razorface? It's got the title track, Madman Across the Water, and there's a different version of this that you can find on I think it's on the Rare Masters, and it has Carlos Alomar in it, I want to say, or is it Mick Ronson? I can't remember. One of the Bowie guys, right? It's got Indian Sunset. A lot of people don't even know this song, Indian Sunset. Oh my God. I woke this morning to the smell of burning. It's like an Indian song because Bernie Taupin and Elton John were fascinated with the American West kind of thing, and this is one of the fucking greatest fucking songs ever. Where he's just I heard that Geronimo had died, laying down his weapons as they filled him full of blood. Oh my god, what a great fucking song. Holiday Inn's okay. Rotten Peaches is fucking great. All the Nasties and Goodbye. Elton John, fucking Madman Across the Water. Those were like the three main albums that my dad played to death. Now, he loved Bob Dylan too, so he used to play Bob Dylan's greatest hits all the time. So I remember, La La La, no, what was it? Lady Alive. I remember listening to that. Oh, he loved Jimi Hendrix too, so he used to play fucking Are You Experienced all the time. But those were the top three, though. And then there was one more. Albums that just like fucking created my musical landscape. He loved fucking Elvis. My dad's still alive, so it's not like he's dead, but Elvis is dead. So, I remember sitting in my sister's room and we had Elvis's Golden Records, that album. It was like a greatest hits album. Had that red cover, it had all those records hanging, and Elvis was like, I remember I used to put that on my sister's turntable. She had this little shitty stereo in her room, and it was, one of those fold out ones. And I used to like just listen to Hound Dog and fucking All Shook Up and Heartbreak Hotel and Jailhouse Rock. Probably along with most of the rock stars, But my dad's favorite Elvis album that he played all the time was Elvis Aloha from Hawaii via satellite from 1973. Opens up with the theme from fucking, 2001. And it's got the CC Rider. It's got Burning Love and Something in the Way She Moves. As a kid, I always thought that was a fucking Elvis song. So when I got into the Beatles later on, I remember popping on Abbey Road and being like, oh, they're singing an Elvis song. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, Elvis was singing a fucking Beatles song. This album was fucking amazing. I listened to it a lot. I have another Elvis live album, though, on my list. That's a great album to get, though. If you want to get a fucking Elvis fucking live album. Oh, yeah. But I really prefer On Stage from Las Vegas for 1970. Just some of the same songs. He does Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. His version, though, of Polk Salad Annie on Stage is so fucking good. Where he's like, a lot of you haven't been down south before, We have a thing that grows on the side of the road. It looks like what did he say? It looks kind of like a turnip. A turnip green. Everybody calls it polk salad. And this girl would go down and pick a mess of it and bring it back home and cook it up for supper, because that's about all they had. But they did all right. He did Yesterday by the Beatles, did Proud Mary, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, and Let It Be. Man, Let It Be Me, not Let It Be. On Stage, Elvis. Woo! So those are some of the albums that kind of kickstarted my love of music. We had the Beatles albums like 1966, the red one and the blue one. The blue one was the later Beatles, the evil Beatles, where they had long hair and they were all scary looking. And the red one was their Yesterday, So, and my mom preferred the red one. She used to play the red one all the time. But later on, when I got into the Beatles, I remember stealing the blue album and listening to like Sgt. Pepper's and shit like that. The white album. And Get Back to Where You Was. I just watched Get Back on the fucking Disney Plus. Oh my god, if you haven't seen that, it's fucking amazing. Yeah. So growing up as a kid, once I got started on all that stuff, then I started to fucking discover albums on my own. So there's a list of about 10 million fucking albums right here. There's a fucking huge list of albums. I'm not going to cover them all, but there's some I'll cover that maybe you don't know about. And that's the only thing about this show is just talking about music. It doesn't have to be metal and hard rock like all the fucking time. There are other fucking forms of music that are just as fucking amazing as metal. And I always look for shit. I was an 80s kid, obviously, so I always tend to there's a lot of shit on here from the 80s. That's just like, stuff that I remember listening to before I was like hugely into metal. So let's cover some of these albums that I think are pretty fucking cool, and you can go fucking look at them. One of the people, I guess you could call her hard rock. I don't know. People call her pop, but I don't really call her pop. I think she's like a hard rocker, because to me, Pat Benatar. Everybody remember Pat Benatar? I do. Dude, I remember when Pat Benatar came out, and the first album that I listened to from fucking Pat Benatar was Crimes of Passion. From 1980. It had fucking Treat Me Right. It had You Better Run. It had Hit Me With Your Best Shot. And it had Wuthering Heights, which was cool. But it had my favorite fucking Pat Benatar fucking song of all time is fucking Hell Is For Children, because it's so fucking, oh my god. It's one of those few songs that I listen to that I get fucking goosebumps listening to it. This fucking, man, Pat Benatar was a badass. She's still a badass, her and her husband Neil Girardo, they're just, oh my god. The other day I popped on, I listened to Hailstorm with Lizzie Hale, and they covered this. They covered Hell Is For Children, and I remember listening to it, and I was just like, they tried to make it all metal sounding, it sounded like shit. And then she changed the lyrics around. So there's a part in the lyrics where it says, be a good little girl and don't tell mommy a thing. Be a good little boy and you'll get a new toy. Tell grandma you fell off the swing because hell. Metallica should cover that fucking. Fuck, it gives me goosebumps, man, because that's fucked up. This little girl's getting molested and this little boy's getting fucking beaten down. It's a song about abuse. And then Lizzie Hale, she's like, tell Lizzie you fell off the swing. What the fuck does Lizzie Hale have to do with that? I don't know. She didn't have any fucking kids, I don't think. So, yeah. Anyways, Pat Benatar, fucking Crimes of Passion. Fucking great album. I'm going to stick in the vein. I'm going to go for another Pat. And we're going to go Pat Travers from 1978. And a little album called Heat in the Street. We all remember Heat in the Street. Had Tommy Aldridge on it, right? Pat Travers is kind of forgotten. I've seen him a bunch of times at the NAMM show. I've like met him. He's a nice fucking dude. Little fucking dude. There was a lot of Pat Travers stuff that was fucking really killer back in the day. And this is one of those albums that I kind of discovered later on that I just fucking dig it. I mean, I dig Crash and Burn too. And, there's a bunch of fucking cool Pat Travers. Bluesy rocker Pat Travers, Reminds me a little bit of George Thorogood or vice versa, But I like Heat in the Street, man. It's got the title track, Killer's Instinct, Hammerhead. Evie is a fucking good song. And One for Me and One for You. Ooh, this is a cool fucking album. Pat Travers. Go find some Pat Travers and fucking listen to him rocking out. He's fucking awesome. Boo, 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 boo. Let's get into a little reggae, man. Little reggae. We're going to go Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh, you all know who Peter Tosh is, right? Peter Tosh was in the Wailers with fucking Bob Marley, right? Got murdered, though, in like 1987, I want to say. Mama Africa. There's a song called There's an album called Mama Africa from 1983. Fuck, it's so good. And I'm not one of those people that like gets totally into reggae, because to me, after a while, every fucking reggae song kind of sounds the same. It's like ding 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 with the tinny drums and shit. But this album is fucking great. It's got Mama Africa on it, which is a great song. It's got Not Gonna Give Up, which is a fucking great song. Feel No Way, Peace Treaty. Peace Treaty is fucking great. And it's got a cover of fucking Johnny B. Good on it. Now, like Juice Priest did Johnny B. Good on Ram It Down, and everybody lost their motherfucking mind. But here, The reggae version of fucking Johnny Be Good is so fucking good, dude. Now, we all know that Chuck Berry wrote it, and he did the original. We know Elvis did it, and that was a great version, too, but I love the fucking Peter Tosh version. It's fucking great. But Mama Africa from 1983. Be diverse, people. Listen to some different shit. Ooh, yeah. Me and my buddy Matt, the Metal God, we were talking about something the other day. And this album popped up on my radar. And it had been a long time since I listened to it. And I remember fucking loving this fucking album. And it's an album called Four, and it's from Foreigner. It was their fourth album, so it was called Foreigner 4. It had the little, like when a movie's playing and it would count down at number 4 on it. So this has fucking Jukebox Hero on it. To me, is one of my favorite songs of all time. And I was telling him when I was a kid, when this came out in 82, so I was like 12. I used to go over to my cousin's house, and he had this album, but it had a scratch on it. That was the kind of the detractor of vinyl. I bought a lot of tapes when I was a kid because vinyl was so delicate, right? It had a scratch on Jukebox Hero, and I was telling him, like, every time I listen to Jukebox Hero, there's a part on the song where it used to be, he bought a beat up 6. And that's where the scratch would start. It would say, a beat up 6 secondhand store, instead of, he bought a beat up 6 string in a secondhand store. Didn't know how to play it, but he knew for sure that one guitar. I was telling him though, like if they would have got like a little bit more of a metal production on that it would have sounded a little cooler, because he hits that open E chord and it's like, it's cool, but it's not as powerful as it probably should be. But dude, Jukebox Hero, even Nightlife, the opening track's great. Breaking Up's fucking great. Waiting for a Girl Like You, Jesus. Luann, urgent, so urgent. Fuck, this is a great fucking album, and I used to listen to this album over and over again. It had been a long time since I fucking listened to some Foreigner, so. Foreigner 4, man. One of the albums that paved the fucking landscape for my fucking musical fucking, my musical fucking mentality. Oh, yeah. A lot of people were into Fleetwood Mac, when I was a kid in the 70s and the 80s. Mostly in the 70s. And I can remember, like, I have the greatest hits, and I have Rumors and Tusk and shit like that, But for me, as a kid, what year did this come out? I'm going to find it because, I got like a million albums on here. Oh, there it is. What year did this come out? Oh, fuck. It's 1982, I think, right? I believe this was 1982. I have the super fucking deluxe version of it. There was a little lady, kind of cute, had blonde hair, looked like a witch. Stevie Nicks. And she came out with an album in like 82 called Belladonna. Listen to that fucking album. I don't care if you love metal and you're totally just into metal. Listen to fucking Belladonna, dude. Jesus. Opening track, Belladonna, the fucking title track is fucking amazing. Kind of Woman's fucking good. Stop Dragging My Heart Around with fucking Tom Petty is fucking good. Edge of 17. And she said she wrote this song because she was talking to Tom Petty's wife, and she said something like she met him when she was 17, so she just like wrote that song around it, and it was Edge of 17. Just like a one-winged dove, sings a song, the sound of singing. Ooh, baby, ooh. What a great fucking song. She does Leather and Lace with fucking Don Henley. I fucking hate Don Henley. Except in the Eagles, and I don't mind this fucking song because Stevie Nicks is fucking awesome. After the Glitter Fades. This is a fucking great album. Go out and fucking find. Fuck, the deluxe fucking version has like 3 discs. It's got all kinds of fucking crazy awesome shit on it. Belladonna from fucking Stevie Nicks. Oh yeah. Now, when I was a kid, I mean, we listened to a lot of AM radio. And the queen of fucking AM radio, like in the late fucking 70s and early fucking 80s, was Debbie Harry. She was the fucking queen of AM radio. And she was in a band called Blondie. Right? Blondie. So I'm going to go with the fucking debut album from this little fucking pop, fucking punky kind of pop band with the girl singer who used to be like a playmate, right? She was a penthouse, or not a penthouse playmate. She was a Playboy playmate, right? Debbie Harry. 1976, Blondie, the first fucking Blondie album. Had Ex Offender, it opened up. Had Little Girl Lies on it. Had Look Good in the Blue, which is a fucking cool song. Had Kung Fu Girls on it. This was just like, dude, it had Ripper to Shreds, a Shark in Jet's Clothing. Oh my god, this is a fucking great album. It was like, what the fuck is this? You know, of course, Blondie had all those fucking hits later on, you know, like the Heart of Glass, fucking Tide is High. You know, if you were a kid in the 80s, like in the early 80s, you know, I mean, come on. Rapture? Jesus Christ. One way or another. I'm gonna get you one way. You know, fucking Call Me. Call Me! Right? Call Me was from, like, what? American Gigolo, right? I mean, but, like, the first album is just mind-blowing. It's fucking amazing. Another one would be fucking Susie and the Banshees, but I don't know what, like Juju from Susie and the Banshees from 78, I believe. That's a fucking great album, too. I always gravitated towards chick singers when I wasn't listening to metal. There's not like a ton of metal chick singers. There is nowadays, but none of them are like fucking, you know, mind-blowing that I fucking listen to all the time. Nobody's consistently. I mean, I listen to Hellstorm, and Lizzie Hale, she has a fucking great voice, but sometimes, like, I get bored with, like, she thinks she's hotter than she actually is. She does. She reminds me of, like, Dexter's sister on fucking Dexter, right? She's kind of skinny and weird looking, and she thinks, like, she's super hot. So all her lyrics are about how fucking hot she is, and it's like, not really. I don't know who told you that, but, yeah. But fucking, always listen to, like, Benatar and fucking, you know, all these Blondie, fucking all these cool chick singers. Cyndi Lauper. Let's go to Cyndi Lauper. Ooh. I know people will be like, what? What are you talking about? You're talking about Cyndi Lauper? I'm fucking talking about Cyndi fucking Lauper. Not too long ago, I got the remaster version of She's So Unusual. Dude, Cyndi Lauper, fuck, man. First of all, when did this came out? 83, so I was like 13. This shit was all over fucking MTV. You couldn't go anywhere on MTV without tripping over Cyndi Lauper. You know, she was dressed like a bag lady, and she was totally kind of crazy. Money changes everything. Oh my god. Girls just want to have fun. Time after time. Fuck. She-Bop is one of my favorite fucking Cyndi Lauper songs, like, ever. Fucking All Through the Night. This is a great album, and you know, even her second album, True Colors, fucking great album. Sometimes you gotta step outside the box and listen to a little fucking Cyndi Lauper, because she's fucking metal! She's not. Oh, yeah. I can't go on without talking about my musical landscape without mentioning Billy Joel. I fucking love Billy Joel. I'm not from New York, though. I know the people in New York, like, it's like a birthright. You have to fucking love Billy Joel if you're from Long Island. But as a kid, like, my sister loved Billy Joel. Billy Joel was all over the radio, especially with this album that I'm going to talk about. This was a big fucking album for him. Well, every album was a big album for Billy Joel. That's the crazy thing about Billy Joel is you look up like his album sales and you're just like, holy fuck, like 7 million copies. He's like sells like 7 to 10 million copies of every fucking album he ever did. For me though, 1980 fucking Glass Houses. He's standing on the cover pretending he's gonna throw a rock through. That was actually his house in Long Island. I remember, like, It's Still Rock and Roll to me was like a big hit on AM radio. And I remember we used to listen to that and just be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Because it was kind of poppy, kind of whoop, whoop, whoop. But Billy always had some dark shit all through his fucking albums. This was one album, though, like, I remember my sister had this album and I used to, like, steal it and go listen to it on my stereo in my room. We were fortunate enough we all had, like, turntables eventually in our bedrooms because my mom just got sick of us like hogging the one out in the living room. So it was like, oh, I'm gonna go crank some fucking Black Sabbath or some fucking Blizzard of Oz. I remember when I was a kid, I'd put on Blizzard of Oz and just sit there with the headphones on and listen to it over and over again. And finally, I got a stereo. Glass Houses, man, it's got you may be right, I may be crazy. But it just might be a lunatic you're looking for. Turn out the light. It's got Sometimes a Fantasy, and I remember like we had like HBO, and they used to show little videos every once in a while on HBO, and they would show this video where he's like talking on the phone, he's being a creeper. It's like, it's just a fantasy. Whoa, it's not the real thing. It's got Don't Ask Me Why. Got fucking Still Rock and Roll to me. And I remember trying to figure out the fucking lyrics to that song because it was like, maybe I could be a Beau Brummel, baby, if you just give me half a chance. And you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? It's got All for Lena, I Don't Want to Be Alone, Sleeping with the Television On, Close to the Borderline, Through the Long. This album is fucking genius. Go listen to some fucking Billy Joel. Fucking Nylon Curtains, fucking amazing. I didn't really like Innocent Man. The Stranger. Oh my God, The Stranger's fucking good. Turnstiles, fucking 52nd Street. Jesus Christ. Listen to some fucking Billy Joel. One of those bands that I got into because of my sister. And she was like, oh, Billy Joel. And I was like, yeah, Billy Joel. We'll throw on a metal album just for fun. This is an odd choice because typically I have utter disdain for this band, and I talked about them on my last show on the album, the terrible albums that weren't Saint Anger, and on my not so obvious list I put Metal Health from Quiet Riot because I just had utter disdain for them. So in 1984, I remember I went down to Tower Records and I met Quiet Riot, and they signed this big poster, and Kevin DuBrow signed like a picture of him and Randy where he had Randy up on his shoulders. And I remember like Rudy Sarzo didn't say shit. Like I remember for years, I met Rudy Sarzo a bunch of times, and like the times I met him, like he's just so quiet. He just didn't say shit. For a while there, I thought he was like a mute or something, But I remember in 84, this album came out, and we actually went and saw Quiet Riot. And I was never this huge fucking Quiet Riot fan, but I was like, I met him. So me and my buddy George, we went to this Quiet Riot show, and Whitesnake opened. Actually, it was Kick Axe was the opening band. I don't even think we saw them, or if we did, I don't remember them. And then fucking Whitesnake opened. And this was 84, so this was on the Slide It In tour. So it was Cozy Powell, John Sykes, Neil Murray, and David Coverdale. And it was fucking amazing. And then Quiet Riot came out, and I really don't remember a shit ton about that show. I know I wasn't fucked up because I was like 14, but I don't remember a lot. But I remember getting this album after the show, like probably a week after the show. And it's my favorite Quiet Riot album because this is actually probably the only album that I could say. Now, I know there's people out there that love fucking Quiet Riot, and there's people out there that fucking hate Quiet Riot. I'm kind of like the stuff with Randy Rhoads was not good. Metal Health had like 2 fucking good songs. The rest of it was, yeah. But Condition Critical from 1984, I actually fucking like that. That's probably the best Quiet Riot album that they ever put out. It's got Sign of the Times. It's got Mama We're All Crazy Now, which was another Slade song. Like, every second song on every album we do, let's put a Slade song. It's got Party All Night. It's got Condition. Ooh. Got a little head filled there for a second. It's got the title track, which is a really fucking good song. It's got Scream and Shout. It's got Red Alert. Without fucking flinching, this is the best fucking Quiet Riot album that ever came out, in my opinion. It's a fucking great album. I don't know who was writing the shit, but for one small minute in time, shit actually clicked for fucking Quiet Riot, and wow. I remember the follow-up album, Quiet Riot 3 or QR3, had a couple of cool songs on it. The Wild and the Young. Remember that weird video where they were like living in some dystopian society, and they had Twilight Hotel, which was cool. And then they kicked Kevin DuBrow out of his own fucking band, and they got like Paul Shortino in the band. Paul Shortino from Rough Cut. That album's corporate bullshit garbage, but Condition Critical from fucking 1984 from Quiet Riot. It's a good fucking album. Listen to it. Here's a really fucking popular album, but I'm gonna fucking tell you why it's fucking amazing. There's this short little chick, and she had a couple of albums out before she actually hit it big, and they were kind of party, poppy, pop rock, party kind of throwaway fucking poppy bullshit. And then in 95, is this 95? Yeah. There was an album called Jagged Little Pill by a chick named Alanis Morissette. And every once in a while you run into one of those albums that's like hugely popular, and then you got to kind of get it, digest it, and kind of figure out why is it so fucking popular. For me, this album is great because it's fucked up. Wow. The whole premise behind this is like, you know, she started off, she had a couple of albums where she was like going to be Britney Spears or some shit, and that didn't work out. So her boyfriend like ditched her, so she wrote this fucking album and put it out with her guts just hanging, and people latched onto it, and it was fucking huge, man. Fucking albums in this, let's check it out. Everybody knows Ironic. Isn't it ironic? Bum bum. My on-air research. Oh, isn't it ironic? What was her first 2 albums? She had Alanis in 91, where she... And Now Is the Time in 92. So Alanis and Now Is the Time is her little 2 pop weird albums. And then she came out with this monster. And what is it? It is... In the United States, it's 16 times platinum. Fuck. Worldwide, this has sold 33 million copies. Yeah, there's a reason why this album is a fucking big seller. Because you want to fucking open a window to the darkness of somebody's fucking soul and have somebody write shit that pulls no fucking punches. Listen to fucking Jagged Little Pill, man. Jesus. All I really want, everybody knows that song. You ought to know. Read the fucking lyrics to You Ought to Know. It is fucked up, dude. Ugh, she's like, is that the chick you're fucking now? Perfect, Hand in My Pocket, Ironic. Fuck, this album is just Jesus. Mary Jane, Not the Doctor. Oh my god. Alanis Morissette. Listen to this. You want a fucking pain? Like, listen to Adele, like, Pain? Fuck. Whew. Alanis Morissette. Oh, yeah. Let's go some Billy Idol. People piss on this album. Billy Idol. Everybody knows Billy Idol, right? Billy Idol's that punk, the punker. Came from Generation X, then he became this kind of pop star. We all know Billy Idol. Billy Idol was splashed all over fucking MTV. He was splashed all over, Rebel, yeah. We all know, like back in the early days, of MTV, you would watch the video for fucking White Wedding and Steve Stevens. But Billy was a trip because he was kind of punky, but then, dude, he would come out with these, like, pop songs that you were like, oh, that's peculiar. Billy took a chance in 93, and he came out with this album called Cyberpunk. And it came with, like, a little download thing or some shit. And people hate this fucking album. It's like a concept album. It's got a bunch of weird fucking parts all over it. But I fucking dig it, because this is, like, kind of Billy Idol just hanging his guts out. Just kind of like Alanis Morissette. It's very about technology and just fucking weird shit. And it all's kind of one flowing piece. But if you never listened to Cyberpunk, go fucking listen to it. It's got some fucking crazy shit on it, and most of this shit was done by Billy. Wasteland, Shock to the System, Neuromancer, Heroin, Shangri-La, Concrete Kingdom. Then the Night Comes. This is a fucking great album, and it's all sewn together with all this fucking weird shit. Most people are like, I'll just get Billy Idol's greatest hits. This is a fucking great album. It's definitely not expected, and a lot of people didn't understand it. A lot of people pissed on it. The other thing I will tell you, there's a little 4-song EP that just came out called The Roadside. Get that. It's fucking great. It's got Rita Hayworth, Bitter Taste, You Don't Have to Kiss Me Like That, and Baby Put Your Clothes Back On. It's fucking great. Sometimes Billy, he hooks up a lot with Miley Cyrus nowadays, which is cool. A lot of people piss on Miley Cyrus, but I know her new album is pretty fucking decent. Had Billy Idol on it. And Joan Jett on it, too. Oh, here's another one that when I was a kid, my mom used to play all the time. There was a guy, and his name was Jimmy Rogers. There's 2 Jimmy Rogers in musical history. One of them is like an old country dude, and so a lot of times when you look up Jimmy Rogers, you'll get like Memphis Yodel or Drunkard's Child, the essential Jimmy Rogers from like 1954. But this guy was more in the 60s. His name is Jimmy Rogers. He sang Kisses Sweeter Than Wine. My mom, I think she had like the Greatest Hits album, and then she used to play Jimmy Rogers all the time. He's the one that sang Waltzin' Matilda. And everybody, like, he's the one that kind of made Waltzin' Matilda, like, famous. Where's the Jolly Jump Bug that you've got in your Tucker bag? You come a Waltzin' Matilda with me, motherfucker, right? Yeah! He's got Bim Bombay. Are you really mine? Honeycomb. This guy was like a crooner from the 60s. Maybe late 50s, early 60s. And then he got, like, something terrible happened to him. He got, like, beat down and really messed up. And then that kind of ruined his career. But Jimmy Rogers, man, go out and find him. Not the fucking Jimmy Rogers from, like the country Jimmy Rogers, like Memphis Yodel Jimmy Rogers. Find Jimmy Rogers like Honeycomb and Sweeter Than Wine and Waltzin' Matilda, Waltzin' Matilda. Now, everybody thinks like metal songs are fucked up, sing about terrible things. You know, I remember as a kid, you know, going to church and they had this whole thing about metal music and they showed us all this fucking evil shit that was in the albums and was, you know, hidden in the songs about rock and roll and all the devil and sex and drugs and all that shit. But I will tell you, there's a song, and I'm not going to go over the album because I really don't have it, but there's an old song, and I think it was like I think it was just like a folk song. But I can remember when I was a kid, my parents used to play this all the time. It was a band called the Kingston Trio. And there's a song called Tom Dooley. And my parents used to play, you know, we played Jimmy Rogers. They'd play like, you know, Kingston Trio and shit. Kingston Trio did, you know, Sloop John B, right? They were kind of around like Beach Boys. My parents weren't really into the Beach Boys though, so they didn't really get into the Beach Boys. But they sang, yeah, the wreck of the Sloop John B, right? But there was a song called Tom Dooley, and you talk about fucked up songs, go find that fucking song, Tom Dooley, where he's all, met her on a mountain, there I took her life, met her on the mountain, and stabbed her with my knife. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley, hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Oh, for you're bound to die. Like they're gonna hang this guy because he murdered this chick. Fuck, man. Listen to that shit when you're a kid. Like when I was a kid, I'd listen to like Proud Mary, and I didn't know it was about a steamship or a fucking riverboat. I thought it was like they were burning some fucking chick, you know. Proud Mary, keep on burning, rolling on the river. You know, when you're a kid, you fucking interpret shit like a lot differently. Boom, 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 boom. I know David Lee Roth loves fucking Frank Sinatra, and so do I. Fucking Frank Sinatra. I have a greatest hits, because Frank Sinatra has like 800 million motherfucking albums. And, but back in the day, like, you know, a lot of these guys get put out by like Rhino Records and shit. And if you want like a really cool fucking Frank Sinatra retrospective, there's one from, I think it was from 94, I want to say. It's called Fly Me to the Moon. It has all the fucking great Frank Sinatra songs. It's got Fly Me to the Moon. It's got Summer Wind. It's got It Was a Very Good Year. It's got All or Nothing. It's got That's Life. Like David Lee Roth, you know, half these songs David Lee Roth covered, right? My Way. Got You Under My Skin. The theme from New York, New York. It's got Strangers in the Night. The Days of Wine and Roses. I got the Capital Years too, which is really cool. It has South of the Border, Down Mexico Way. It has Love and Marriage. Obviously the theme song from, what was that fucking show with Al Bundy? Married with Children. Love and Marriage. Yeah, throw on some Frank Sinatra. I think I was a little older from my parents, so we didn't listen to a bunch of Frank Sinatra when we were kids, but definitely one of those albums where you're like, yeah. Let's see. Oh, fuck. Okay, so when I was in grade school, well, I think I was in middle school. And middle school is when MTV hit. When it was middle school, it was like 82, 81, 82. MTV, we didn't really get MTV until like about 1983. Or 82, maybe late 82. MTV, when it first came out, like when we were here in San Diego, it was on Southwestern Cable. So if you lived in Chula Vista, you could get MTV. But we lived in, you know, the middle part of San Diego, so we had Cox Cable. And so you didn't get MTV until probably I want to say late 82. But I remember So before there was MTV, there was AM radio, and AM radio is where we kind of got all our songs, as kids. Tom Sawyer, fuck, I remember listening to Tom Sawyer on KGB, and I went out and bought the single, because I love that fucking song, Um, in 1981, there was an album called Men at Work, Business as Usual. It was this yellow cover with I think the original one was in black and white, but it had little mountains on it, and it was actually like on the top of an amp and a little amp cord, little curly Q amp cord. We fucking listened to Men at Work. Men at Work was fucking huge, man. This album sold like 8 million copies or some shit like that. Australia, Men at Work, it was like kind of precursor to what Crocodile Dundee, right? We Americans were so fascinated with Australia at that point. 6 times platinum in America, 3 times platinum in Australia, 5 times platinum in Canada. So this was a big album for them. I just remember Men at Work, when Men at Work came out, I had Colin Hay, and Colin Hay's eyes were all over the place, so you'd like see the videos and you're just like, and they were weird, man. They had the little dude playing the saxophone. But dude, this album was all over AM radio, and Who Can It Be Now? Who Can It Be Now? It had Down Under, which, fuck, man. It's one of my favorite songs ever. Traveling in a fried out combat. When we were kids, we were trying to figure out what the fuck they were talking about, because all the stuff in this song was about being from Australia, because it's from the land down under. And we didn't know, there's a part where he's like, where women glow and men chunder. And chunder is where you like vomit violently after like power drinking fucking beer. Jesus. Offered me a Vegemite sandwich, Had Underground, which is a great fucking song. Helpless Automaton, wow. Had Bigga Bigga, Bigga Bigga, Bigga Johnny, which was always kind of creepy to me. Is what kind of boy are you, Johnny? You're like, I had Down by the Sea on it. Catch a Star. It's a fucking great album. Fuck, MTV was coming out. All this fucking synth pop and weird fucking shit was coming out, and that was the kind of music that we all fucking gravitated towards because it was new and exciting and different. Every band was fucking different, man. They were doing different shit, and the 80s was a great time in music to be alive. Not only because of the birth of like fucking metal, where metal was coming out of, especially new wave of British metal was coming out of England, and even the American metal bands were coming up, but that was a couple of years in the future for me, like maybe about 2 years or a year. But before, metal was like AM radio and then eventually MTV. Men at Work, even their second album, Cargo, Jesus. It had one of my favorite songs, which is It's a Mistake. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. We'll send the card and letter saying it's a mistake. Where the guy gets killed and they just get a card and a letter saying, sorry, your kid's dead. And Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Overkill, upstairs in my house. This is fucking great. But yeah, Men at Work, Business as Usual from 1981. Whoa. What else we got? What about Joan Jett? I Love Rock and Roll. Jesus. Joan Jett came out of the Runaways. So did Lita Ford. I was never a huge fucking Lita Ford fan, but I was a fucking huge Joan Jett fan. I think because Joan Jett was a little ballsier than fucking Lita was. Lita was just kind of pretty. She was trying to be evil, but she was kind of pretty. Joan Jett wasn't pretty. Joan Jett looked like a dude. But I remember my sister I had the single of this because I Love Rock and Roll. The song was, one of my favorite songs. It's a cover tune too, right? Yeah. But my sister had the album, where Joan's like got the pink fucking blazer on and the little Freddy from fucking Scooby-Doo neckerchief on. This album, it was 1981, just like fucking 1981 was a good year, man. Came out with I Love Rock and Roll, put another dime in the jukebox, baby. It's a cover tune, but it's fucking amazing. Crimson and Clover, fucking Bits and Pieces. Little Drummer Boy was on this album. She did Louie Louie too. Love is Pain, NAG. Oh, this is a fucking good album. I loved it when Joan did some, she had great songs all over the place. Bad Reputation, of course. I love the fucking cover she did of Dirty Deeds, like later on. It was kind of cool. Joan went a little fucking weird. Started doing albums called like Naked, but she did Science Fiction double feature from fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show on that album, and it's fucking genius. So Joan Jett, I'm not dissing Lita Ford, but I thought most of Lita Ford albums were bullshit. There was a couple of cool songs, the poppy hit singles, but Joan had balls. Lita Ford was just kind of like, oh, look at my tits. Where Joan Jett had no fucking tits. She looked like a fucking 12-year-old boy, but she was like, she should have been metal. Reminded me a lot of Susie Quattro from fucking, Happy Days, where she played Leather Tuscadero. Yeah. How about the fucking B-52s? Oh, yeah. Another fucking band. I'm going to go Wild Planet, though. A lot of people picked their first one. I'm going to go 1980s Wild Planet from the B-52s. It's got Party Out of Bounds. It's got Dirty Back Road on it. It's got Give Me Back My Man. It's got My Private Idaho. It's got Strobe Light. It's got 53 Miles West of Venus. B-52s, when we were kids, I remember we used to go to school dances and they'd play like Rock Lobster. Rock Lobster, down, down. And we'd all like fall on the ground and it was fucking weird. It was like 1979 or 1980. Wild Planet, though, is a fucking great album. B-52 is one of those, it took like 50s kitsch and kind of new wave and kind of melded it together. Two chick singers and just weird and fucking great, man. I love a lot of B-52s, but definitely one of those bands where you couldn't put your finger on, man. They would just come out with fucking songs you would like, wow. I mean, have you ever heard, what is that fucking song? Planet Claire, man. Welcome to Planet Claire. Oh my God. Rock Lobster. Down, down, down. Fucking, yeah. Woo! B-52s. Not a huge Bon Jovi fan, but I will tell you, maybe these are guilty pleasure albums. Not really. You could call them guilty pleasure albums, but I don't. Because I don't feel guilty about listening to them. But I was never a huge Bon Jovi fan. Bon Jovi was a fucking chick band. They were that band that, I like some of their songs, but, they were pretty. That was the whole point of fucking Bon Jovi, is they were just pretty. But I will tell you, probably the best album that Bon Jovi ever fucking came out with. A lot of people would say New Jersey. I'm not a big fan of New Jersey. I don't live in New Jersey, so I don't really give a fuck about New Jersey. It had some good songs on it, but I thought the follow-up to that, 1992's Keep the Faith, it had some fucking great songs on it. I Believe, fucking Keep the Faith, Save a Prayer. It has fucking Bed of Roses, which is not my favorite, but If I Was Your Mother, Dry Country, Fear. This is a fucking great album. This is when Bon Jovi kind of started moving away from the fucking glammy little, look how beautiful my fucking hair is, and actually started to become songwriters. After fucking John Bon Jovi did fucking Young Guns, it was on, and there's some great albums. Like I said, New Jersey was good. It had some good songs on it, but, it was still kind of leaning towards some of those songs that, annoyed me. I still, I'm not going to lie, I still love fucking Wanted Dead or Alive. I mean, we all do, right? And even on, they had an album, what, 94? They came out with Keep the Faith in 92, and then they came out with the Greatest Hits in 94. And there was a couple of fucking songs on there. Listen to Someday I'll Be Saturday Night. That's a fucked up song. But yeah, Keep the Faith from 92. In my opinion, it's the best Bon Jovi album there fucking was. Everything else before that, it's like poppy and bullshit. There's a couple of songs here and there that, you know, everybody knows fucking, you give love a bad name, bad name. Now, Bon Jovi wasn't this great singer, but when he started, like, kind of where he got money, you know, he started, like, going out on his motorcycle and visiting the fucking dirty, dark, and dreary West, you know, and walking through the desert shit. I mean, got some enlightenment and he started to fucking write some decent songs. Songs that were memorable, but also songs that kind of weren't bullshit. So, Keep the Faith, yeah. Throw on some Bon fucking Jovi on there. Oh, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. People talk about fucking guitar heroes all the time, but they forget to mention this one guy. And I'll mention two of them. I'll mention Roy Clark. Y'all remember Roy Clark from fucking Hee Haw? Go find some Roy Clark, man. That guy was phenomenal. What a great fucking... It's funny how... Well, guitar players that are worth their salt, they knew who the fuck Roy Clark is. But everybody else, unless you grew up in the 70s, were watching Hee Haw. You didn't really know who Roy Clark was. He was a phenomenal guitar player. The other one that I don't feel gets a lot of credit, I've met him. He's a great guy. He's a little old man now. Albert Lee, man. Anybody, there's an album that I have. It's called Live from Mars. It came out in 2004. Listen to the playing on that fucking album. It's fucking amazing. Albert Lee, he played with John Mayall's Blues Breakers at one point. I know he did a bunch of shit with like Vince Gill and shit, but this guy's been playing for 1,000 years. What a fucking great guitar player that never really gets any credit. I mean, you know, in the deep circles, yeah. And that's what's funny is like sometimes when you're mentioning people that are underrated, you get that one nutball that's like, oh, dude, I don't think he's underrated. Well, yeah, because you're a nerd, and so you know who he is. Like me, I'm a nerd, so I know who Albert Lee is. But if you pluck 10 people off the street and I asked them all who the fuck Albert Lee is, I don't think anybody would say, oh, yeah, that guy, he's fucking awesome. Live from Mars, I like it because it's just kind of a retrospective. Country Boy does Tear Stained Letter. Oh my gosh. 17th Summer, Tear It Up. The bonus track is Tiger Rag, which is fucking great. Till I gain control again. Wallah, I can't speak today. Albert Lee, go look up some Albert Lee. If you want to talk phenomenal guitar players that aren't in metal, Al Di Meola, we all know, right? And I could fucking name like Land of the Midnight Sun, Casino, Elegant Gypsy, Splendido Hotel, Casino. Did I say Casino? Romantic Warrior from fucking Return to Forever. Jesus, Al Di Meola. Go look up some Al Di Meola. Holy fucking shit. It'll blow your fucking mind. Yeah. The other day I was listening to some, I go through phases. My buddy got me hooked on some Bruce Springsteen the other day. Matt, the Metal God, thank you very much. Never been a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. You know, I have some of his albums and I'm like, yeah, you know. But we started talking about some Bruce Springsteen albums and next thing I know, I'm like, listening to The River and I'm listening to The Ghost and Tom Joad, which kind of led me into like some Tom Morello stuff too. So, and fuck, man, Bruce, he's depressing, dude. Sometimes you like, wow, you kind of find a musician or find somebody and then you put them on and you're just like, wow, you know, as a kid, we all remember Dancing in the Dark and fucking, Born in the USA. But go listen to Nebraska. Jesus Christ, dude. I'm telling you right now, go listen to the fucking Ghost of Tom Joad. You want to hear some fucked up shit? That's what I said. Like, you people always kind of go, oh, well, metal, they always write about all this gruesome shit. Oh, dude, go listen to fucking Bruce Springsteen. There's a song called Balboa Park on fucking The Ghost of Tom Joad. Go listen to that song. And I thought it was cool because we live here in San Diego, and it's about Balboa Park, which is the big old giant park downtown. And I was like, texting Matt, and I was like, oh, I didn't know Bruce Springsteen was into San Diego because he's never fucking played here, ever. I don't think ever. There's some weird thing where he hates fucking San Diego. I don't fucking know. But I was like, yeah, that's weird. At first I thought, oh, that's just coincidence. But then I listened to the song and I was like, no, it's fucking about Balboa Park. Fuck, man. It's about like the hustler kids in Balboa Park that sell their ass to like old fucking pervos so they can survive. I know they did like a 2020 on it like years ago. Maybe that's where Bruce got it from. But that song's fucked up. The kid gets hit by a car and then he crawls back into his like cardboard box underneath the bridge and he fucking dies, choking on his own blood. Jesus. You don't have to listen to metal to hear some fucked up shit, man. Wow. Pop on some Alanis Morissette. Pop on some fucking Bruce Springsteen. Jesus Christ. So yeah, the other day, I was talking to Matt and I was like, he's like, what do you listen to today? And I go, I don't know. It's like, oh, I'll listen to some damn Yankees. Little Tommy Shaw and Jack Blades, right? Yeah. Little Devo? Ooh, little Devo, yeah. The other day I popped on some fucking Duran Duran and I went through a fucking little trip on Duran Duran. Listened to their first album, listened to fucking Rio. And Matt was like, I never really kind of discovered them. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, when I was a kid, if I would have loved Duran Duran, I would have, like, got way more chicks. Because all the little cute chicks in high school when I was, like back in 84, 83, 84, 85, when Duran Duran was huge. And all these little cute chicks that love fucking Duran Duran, they would all wear a little black hat and a bunch of makeup, and they were like little fucking Duran Duran chicks. And I detested them, so I used to talk shit about them. And it's like, fucking, I would have been nice about it. It was like, oh. Anyways, years later, one of my friends, Marissa, she fucking loved Duran Duran, and she's like 3 days older than me. And so we were both 80s kids, and I was the metal 80s kid, and she was the fucking pop fucking Duran Duran 80s kid. And I remember I used to make her like CDs and stuff like for her birthday and stuff, so I got a bunch of Duran Duran shit. And fuck, Duran Duran could write a fucking pop song. There's an album, it's just called Duran Duran. It's from 1993. It was kind of like after, like, they were huge. That's a fucking great album. Like, you should listen to that. Too Much Information. Ordinary World is such a fucking great song. And I even have the acoustic version on here, but Love Voodoo, Shotgun. Fuck, man. This is a really fucking good album. The first album, man, it had Girls on Film. Is There Something I Should Know? Please tell me why. The one album probably that Duran Duran's most popular for was 83. It was like, Seven in the Ragged Tiger, had The Reflex, had New Moon on Monday, Union of the fucking Snake. Jeez, what a great fucking song. This was a synth pop band that were huge, man, in the 80s. Duran Duran, fucking Rio? Jesus. Fucking Rio, man. And Rio, Only in Your Nightmare, Hungry Like the Wolf, Save a Prayer. Jesus, New Religion. But the one I tend to gravitate for, and I don't know why, but is the Duran Duran. It's also called the Wedding Album because it has pictures of their parents on their wedding days on the cover of the album. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, throw out some fucking Duran Duran, man. My pops, my stepdad, he is a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. So growing up as a kid, that was his contribution to my musical landscape was Jimmy Buffett. He liked Frank Zappa too, so I mean, there was a couple of Frank Zappa. For me, when I got into Jimmy Buffett, I got into Jimmy Buffett because he started writing books, and he reminds me a lot of fucking Mark Twain. And so I went through and I read up all his like books. He did do one about a pig that I thought was kind of dumb, but the other ones like Salty Piece of Land and A Pirate Looks at 40, those were great books. Jimmy Buffett's been around for 1,000 years. Started off as this country guy, and his first couple of albums were like kind of country, like High Cumberland Jubilee. What was the other one? Down to Earth from 1970. Had the Captain and the Kid on it. I wonder if that's the Elton John song. But for me, like, my favorite Jimmy Buffett album is probably A White Sport Coat and a Pink Crustacean. It has The Great Filling Station Hold Up, which is a great song. It has He Went to Paris, which is a bummer, dude, but it's a great song. Grapefruit, Juicy Fruit, we all know that song. Why Don't We Get Drunk and Screw, right? Death of an Unpopular Poet. For me, Jimmy Buffett, I like a lot of his albums because he's fun, because he's a fun storyteller. Even Son of a Sailor is a great fucking album. Cheeseburger in Paradise on it, right? Cheeseburger in Paradise. Sometimes you just gotta listen to stuff that's fun. And like for me, when I was a kid, once I became a metal kid, I was so close-minded. But it's funny because before that, I listened to all the stuff, that my parents fed to me musically, but then I listened to all that stuff from like my friends and from AM radio and then from MTV, and I was kind of individualistic about that, where there were certain things that just caught me and I loved. And then like once I became a metal kid, once I discovered Ozzy, and then I was this huge Ozzy kid, I kind of got this fucking closed-minded, even though like secretly I'd be like, oh, I like that song. But most of the time I was like kind of closed-minded. It was like, if it wasn't metal, it wasn't like, I didn't like it. It was like, you kind of look back from when you're 13 up to when you're about 17, like those 4 years of high school basically, where you were just kind of like standoff, like Duran Duran, a lot of little cuties, like, they love Duran Duran, but I would go out of my way to say like, oh, fuck Duran Duran. Oh. We look back though, and we missed a lot of cool stuff because maybe we were like, we were more like inclined to be like, it's not metal. I don't like it. How about John Lennon, 1970? How about the Plastic Ono Band? I have like the ultimate edition. Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy always buys all these box sets and then like pushes them down to me and says, "Here you go." This what, like the deluxe edition's like 7 fucking discs. Holy shit! For a lot of years, I didn't have this album. This was kind of one of the fucking John Lennon albums that I didn't have. And me and Matt, the Metal God, we hung out the other day because he actually came down and we actually got to hang out, which is amazing. We were talking about the Beatles, and I was telling, like, when I was a kid, like, I was a Paul McCartney kid, like, when the Beatles broke up when I was fucking, like, 1. But, like, into the 70s and stuff, I didn't really follow George Harrison. You would hear some of his songs on the radio, but he wasn't this entity that was splashed all over the place. You either heard John Lennon or you heard Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney with Wings and then just Paul McCartney. I was more of that Paul McCartney kid if I was going to look at one of the Beatles that I really dug his music, because Paul was the poppy one. Paul was the one that could write a hook, and it was, he just reeled you in. John had those songs. He did. He had those hits. When you look at John's hits, you're like, oh yeah, fuck, man. Look at all those fucking fun songs that he had. Instant Karma, Watching the Wheels, Imagine, of course, Mind Games. What was the one where he got fucking murdered? Just like Starting Over, Jesus. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. John Lennon could write a fucking pops, obviously, but him and Paul McCartney were such a great songwriting team. John could write pop, obviously, and when you watch that Get Back, man, you kind of like the veil comes up. It's amazing what Peter Jackson did on that video. Where, dude, those guys were such phenomenal musicians. You all think of the Beatles, you're like, oh yeah, the Beatles, and you think of all the songs and stuff. When you sit and watch them sitting in a fucking room just tinkering around and fucking trying to come up with songs, you kind of realize what great players they were, because they really were. They could fucking play just crazy stuff all the time. But I really wasn't. John had a lot of songs that to me were just kind of like it's almost like John. There was that point in his life, especially on Plastic Ono Band, because that album is filled with pain. And that's what kind of makes it great. It's almost like, Alanis Morissette or listening to Springsteen. Like, you want albums that are filled with pain. I'm not comparing any of them to each other, so I don't need anybody freaking the fuck out because I just compared Alanis Morissette with fucking John Lennon. But at the same time, this album is filled with pain. He was going through, the Beatles had just broken up. And because of John's the one that said, I'm out. Everybody was like, who broke up the Beatles? Paul will tell you, John, he fucking quit. He was going through all this shit. He was madly in love with fucking Yoko. And a lot of people piss on Yoko and they're like, oh, fucking Yoko and everything. One thing I will tell you is, man, that guy loved fucking Yoko. You watch the Get Back thing, she's sitting right in the chair next to him. She's sitting there sewing and shit. People just need to understand, John loved fucking Yoko. Yoko was like his fucking soulmate. He was his mommy. It was fucking, Yoko was his fucking world. And just because people don't like Yoko Ono, people need to understand, fuck, dude. That guy was, head over heels. That's why she was on pretty much every fucking album cover he ever came out with. Duh. But listen to Plastic Ono Band. Oh, it's got Mother. He had a lot of issues, man. His mother got killed by a car. He was raised by his aunt. It's got Hold On. It's got I Found Out. It's got fucking Working Class Hero on it, which is one of the first songs I ever heard where he says fuck a bunch of times. And it's such an amazing song. It's got Isolation. Remember. Well. Look at Me. It's got God. It's got My Mummy's Dead. It's like a little blurb, but it's called My Mummy's Dead. It's got Power to the People. It ends with Do the Oz, which is kind of a throwaway track, but talk about an album. He was going through therapy where he was learning to fucking kind of spill all the fucking darkness out of his fucking soul, and it's on this fucking album. It's a great fucking album. Like I said, I didn't own it for a lot of years. I had all the other shit, but I don't know for some reason, probably because it's listed under the Plastic Ono Band, and I just never, I don't know. But, fuck. Woo. I still love Paul, but I do respect John, and I love a lot of his stuff now. Like, when I was a kid, I don't think I was ready for it. Because a lot of the stuff you listen to, you're just like, Jesus. What's that song? A woman is the nigger of the world. Number nine. Maybe that's why I thought he kind of ruined some of the Beatles albums for just being obnoxious. This is lashing out. All right, let's go 1983. We're going to go an album called Uh-Huh from John Mellencamp. Now, when I was a kid, American Fool came out in what? 82, right? American Fool had Hurt So Good and had Jack and Diane. I remember we all fucking loved Jack and Diane. You know, Hurt So Good because the video was kind of creepy. Like back then, I guess like they thought those chicks were hot in that video. Go back and watch the Hurt So Good video where you got the chick in like the black spandex fucking one piece bathing suit. And you're like, dude, that chick is not good looking. She's fucking scary. I guess they had $10, so you know whatever. But Hurt So Good, come on, baby. And then Jack and Diane, which was what? Nick Ronson, right? From fucking David Bowie wrote that song. Just clapping and fucking did it about Jack and Diane. Two American kids living in the heartland, right? I will tell you, over the years, John Mellencamp is one of my favorite fucking songwriters. The guy's he's fucking tiny too. I remember one of my friends played basketball with him. He worked like security down at the sports arena, and he actually played basketball. He said the guy's like 5'2". Yeah, he's this tiny little dude. Not that has anything to do with anything, but he's such a tiny little dude. I remember watching, when Sammy Hagar did his little roadshow thing, and I remember he went to his studio in wherever the fuck, his painting studio, because John Mellencamp is like a painter. He still comes out with albums and shit, but he loves art and shit, and he has some, where in Bloomington or whatever, Indiana, wherever the fuck he's from. I remember watching that interview where they were kind of playing and stuff, and you kind of got the impression from what he was saying is like, Sammy Hagar was saying, like, you got all these great songs and stuff, and, everybody remembers you for that and that and that, and he was like, I don't really care about those songs. You're like, wow, okay. Over the years, fuck, man, John Mellencamp, when we were kids, he was John Cougar. Even before that, John Cougar Mellencamp and John Mellencamp or whatever, he was making albums like way back in the fucking days. I mean, there's a cover tune Pat Benatar did on like a first fucking album of a fucking John Cougar song. So, but he really didn't hit it big until but like 1980, like Nothing Matters and What If It Did. He had a couple of Hot Night in a Cold Town, Don't Misunderstand Me, Ain't Even Done with the Night. But then like 82 is when he hit, and that was with American Fool. But I love fucking from 1983. It's got When the Walls Come Crumbling Down. It's got Lil Playing Houses for You and Me. This was the culmination of Midwestern rock to us kids that lived in like California. We didn't really have a understanding of the Midwest, but you got it through fucking John Mellencamp, man. You understood, kind of like with Bruce Springsteen. If you were a big Springsteen fan, I wasn't, because he was, he was kind of like my older sister's band, guy. A lot of his albums came out when I was like a fucking 5 years old and shit, so I wasn't really. Mellencamp for us was like, I was 13 when this album came out, so it was kind of cool to get that kind of gritty kind of Midwestern, like life sucks, but we do okay, we do what we can. It's got I find authority always wins. Warmer Place to Sleep, Jackie O, play guitar. This album is fucking amazing. I will tell you too that I fucking love Scarecrow, the next album from 85. Rain on the Scarecrow, listen to that fucking song. It's fucking awesome. Where he's like, there's 97 crosses buried in the courthouse yard. 97 families who lost 97 farms. Did them like my daddy did. My grandpa tilled this land. Ugh. What a fucking great. Blood on the Scarecrow. Blood on the Plow. It's got Small Town on it. Fucking Minutes to Memories, Lonely Old Night, fuck, Face the Nation. But I'll tell you, I love fucking more. Go out and listen to this fucking John Mellencamp. What a great fucking songwriter he is. His songs are fucking amazing, and he has a bunch of fucking albums that are fucking stellar. So, little John Mellencamp. How about fucking Prince? Not a lot of metal on this. I'm kind of talking about albums that aren't really metal. Should we throw in a metal album? Nah. How about some Power Station? Ooh, yeah. A little fucking Robert Palmer and the guys from Duran Duran. Oh. People love Prince. We miss Prince. Even though, like, towards the end, Prince, I don't know, he did a whole ton of shit that was, like, fucking amazing. But for one of the albums that kind of sticks out to me is 1987's fucking Sign of the Times, man. You know, listen to the title track, Sign of the Times. Once again, I guess I like fucked up shit because it's like listening to Cats in the Cradle from fucking Harry Chapin. It's just like, fuck. It's like listening to fucking Goodnight Saigon from fucking Billy Joel. Oh. Oh, oh. We came in spastic like tameless horses. We left in plastic as numbered corpses. Fuck. Sign of the Times, man. Listen to this fucking song. It's fucking brutal. This is a fucking cool album. It was like a double album. Had the Ballad of Dorothy Parker on it. And Starfish and Copy, which was fucking awesome. This is a fucking great album. A lot of people like, I mean, when we were kids, dude, I remember the first time I ever saw Prince on fucking MTV, it was Little Red Corvette. And I remember I was like, he's that guy, you know, because I was the metal kid. But there was a point where, like, when he kicked the microphone stand down and then he brought it back up with his foot, I was like, that guy is fucking badass. Like, and then Purple Rain hit, and everybody was into Prince. And I fucking love Purple Rain, too, man. Purple Rain. Fucking Let's Go Crazy. Oh, my God. And if the elevator tries to break you down, go crazy. One time. Fucking Darling Nikki. Fucking When Doves Cry. The Beautiful Ones. Jesus, that's a fucking great album. But Sign of the Times is kind of a mixture. It has all kinds of fucking different music on it. It's just kind of like more sprawling and fucking... it's a good fucking dive into fucking Prince if you've never done it before. I love a lot of fucking Prince albums. He's kind of all over the fucking place. I just listened to the one that they just released not too long ago, actually this year, Welcome to America, and that had some great fucking songs on it. Stand Up and Be Strong, Check the Record, Same Page, Different Book, 1010, Rin Tin Tin, and fucking Yes, those are great fucking songs. That album was supposed to be released like fucking years ago, and they never put it out. Like, he was just about to put it out, and they didn't put it out. Yeah. What else we got on this list? I know this is going on forever, but, some of this stuff's fun to talk about. Eddie Money, dude. Ooh, No Control. It's got fucking shaking on it. That's all I have to say. Cause we was shaking, whoa, 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 snapping our fingers. We were moving around. It's got Think I'm in Love. It's got Take a Little Bit. It's got Keep My Motor Running on it. It's got Passing by the Graveyard. This is a fucking great album. Eddie Money, 1982. Fucking Eddie Money. Fucking Eddie Grant. I have Eddie Grant on here too. Ooh, Eddie Grant. We're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue. And then we'll take it higher. What about fucking Huey Lewis in the News? Huey Lewis in the News. Now, did you know, and I do, but you probably don't, did you know that Huey Lewis played harmonica on fucking Phil Lynot's fucking solo album? Did you know that? Did you know that he also covered a song called Tattoo, Giving It All Up for Love from Phil Lynot's solo album? Did you know that on the fucking Huey Lewis in the News Picture This album from 1982? Did you fucking know that? Yeah. Huey Lewis has a connection to Thin fucking Lizzy. Wow. The album that we all grew up with that is fucking great is fucking Sports from 1983. It's got Heart of Rock and Roll on it. It's got Heart and Soul. It's got Bad is Bad, which is a great song. It's got I Want a New Drug, of course. It's got Walking the Thin Line, which is probably my favorite song on the album. I mean, they had all the hits, but Walking on a Thin Line, that's that song about like the fucked up Vietnam vet that's living next door to you and shit. Listen to that fucking song. It's kind of fucked up. It's got If This Is It, You Crack Me Up. Huey Lewis and the News on the Phil Lynott album, right? Go find the Phil Lynott album. I just listened to it the other day. You want a weird fucking album to listen to? Listen to fucking Zombie Birdhouse by Iggy Pop from 1982. You want to talk about a picture, a snapshot, a fucking masterpiece of fucking madness? This fucking album is fucking genius. This is like Iggy Pop where he just would write random lyrics. Shocking, right? It's got Run Like a Villain on it. It's got Ordinary Bummer. Villagers. This is a fucking cool album. I'm not a huge Iggy Pop fan, but I have a lot of his shit, and I remember listening to this not too long ago, and I was like, oh, it was actually kind of fun. There's some shit towards the end of it, but it's always fun to fucking listen to something different. Can't just listen to fucking Kill 'Em All every fucking day of your life. It gets kind of boring after a while, right? Oh. Oh, fuck yeah. How about a little Hall & Oates? For me, 1982's H2O is probably like that album. Although Big Bam Boom, I like that. I saw them on that tour, Big Bam Boom tour, I believe. Or Private Eyes. But H2O, they had Maneater on it. Ice Crime Pays on it. Art of Heartbreak, One on One, I wanna be with you tonight. Family Man, Italian Girls, fuck, Attention. This is a fucking cool album. H2O, man. I wonder whose skin that was with the sweat hanging off of it. Hall & Oates has a million fucking albums. I own a bunch of them, and they're all have some fucking amazing shit on them. Big Bam Boom, yeah. I think that was the year I saw him in '84. Whoa, whoa. Oh, what's the next one? How about the album that kicked off MTV? How about the Buggles? And we're going to go The Age of Plastic from 1980. It's got Jeff Downs from Yes. Eventually, Yes, right? Actually, him and the other dude would jump into Yes. It's got, of course, Video Kill the Radio Star. This is a really good album, and I would even tell you to fucking look up the Gary Newman album. What's that called? We'll look it up. This is a great album. Like, if you want to hear synth pop, fucking cool songs, The Plastic Age, Video Kill the Radio Star, Kid Dynamo, I Love You, Miss Robot, Clean Clean, Elstree, fuck. Astro Boy and the Proles on, Johnny on the Monorail. It was fucking awesome. The Buggles, The Age of Plastic. Yeah. Do 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 do. Boom boom boom. A little Frank Zappa. How about a little Frank Zappa? The Firm. Ooh. Fish. Oh, go and listen to fucking Fish's last album. It's from 2020. It's called Weltschmerz. It's supposed to be his last album ever. Go listen to that. That's a dark, fucking, twisted, cool kind of fucking album. Even A Parlay with Angels from 2018. You know, Fish from Marillion. Go listen to that. That's some dark shit. Woo! It's so good, though. Oh, yeah. How about Frank Zappa? How about Ship Arriving Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch from 1982? I had Valley Girl on it. That was the big hit. That was on the AM radio. But it's kind of like Frank Zappa, like making fun of pop music, but it's fucking great. Teenage Prostitute, Drowning Witch, fucking I Came From Nowhere, No Not Now. Listen to this album. This is one of those Frank Zappa albums where I totally forgot about it. And you put it on, you're like, oh, this was fucking really cool. I just fucking downloaded this the other day. Garbage, No Gods, No Masters from 2021. Shirley Manson, she's fucking, wow. If you never listened to Garbage before, that sounds kind of funny. Listen to fucking Garbage. There's some great fucking songs. Kind of a alternative, weird. I mean, you never know what you're fucking gonna get with them. There's some electronic shit and some bands all over the fucking place. But The Men Who Ruled the World is fucking good. Waiting for God. Wow, that's a fucking dark song. Anonymous X. Flipping the Bird. No Gods, No Monsters. I got the deluxe version, so they did Starman for Bowie. It's pretty cool. Talk about dark lyrics. Holy shit. I didn't put any country albums on here. I put Rope in the Wind by fucking Garth Brooks from 1991. Against the Grain, Rodeo. What She's Doing Now, Burning Bridges. Papa Loves Mama. I hate his version of fucking Shameless from Billy Joel because Billy Joel had just come out with that song on Stormfront and then fucking Garth Brooks decides to cover it. I don't like that. We Bury the Hatchet. In Lonesome Dove. That's a great fucking album. That's a great fucking album. You know, I know a lot of people aren't into fucking country music that, you know, listen to rock and metal, but woo! Bow, bow, bow. About 1973, Living in the Material World by Joan Jett. Oh, Sue Me, Sue You Blues. That was hilarious. Living in the Material World. Fucking The Day the World Gets Round. Miss Odell is a bonus track, and that's fucking great. This is a fucking great album. Even 33 and a Third is fucking good. And I was just listening to Somewhere in England from 1981, and like just the first 4 songs on that album are fucking great. You know, All Those Years Ago, Life Itself, Unconscious Rules, Blood from the Clone, Baltimore Oriole. George Harrison was one of those Beatles that I like, meh. And then years later, I was like, oh shit, he fucking had some great stuff. Some great fucking albums. I think I'm gonna, yeah, let's go one more here. How about 1968, James Taylor? James Taylor, you know, he's like kind of clean cut, Mr. Play the acoustic guitar. Back then, he was shooting fucking heroin, you know. This guy was fucked up on drugs. This is a great album, though. It's got Knocking Around the Zoo. It's got Taking It In. It's got Somewhere or Something in the Way She Moves. Night Owl, fucking brighten your mind with my day. Fuck. This is a fucking cool album. If you never heard like the old school fucking James Taylor before, he was on Sesame Street singing Jelly Man Kelly. Hell yeah. The other day I was watching this fucking documentary on whatever the fuck, and it was about Janet Jackson, and I gotta go 1986 Control. Some fucked up shit in her childhood. This was the album where she actually took control of her life. And this is a fucking great album. I would even say fucking Rhythm Nation 1814 is pretty fucking cool too if you want to listen to something that's kind of all over the place. But Control, Funny How Time Flies, fucking Nasty, What Have You Done For Me Lately? The Pleasure Principle. Jesus, this was Janet being like, cast off her fucking old man. Fuck you. I'm going to go be a fucking rebel and go do what I want. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Where is that? I'm trying to find a fucking album and I can't. Oh, I know where it is. There it is. Fuck. 1984, there was a Roy Harper and Jimmy Page album called Whatever Happened to... It just kind of got lost in the shuffle because I've never heard anybody talk about this fucking album at all. When I was doing my Led Zeppelin show, I kind of went back and found some Jimmy Page stuff, found some fucking Robert Plant stuff. This is a fucking great album. It's fun, dude. Roy Harper's, hats off to Roy Harper, the Zeppelin song. Well, that's about him. He was the old English singer. He did some shit with, Pink Floyd. But this has got some fucking great songs on it. 1948-ish. Hangman. It's got fucking Elizabeth on it. 20th Century Man. It's a fucking good album. The other one that I found, and it was the second... solo album from Robert Plant. It's called The Prince. This was the one that I was pleasantly surprised. Now, I got Pictures at 11, and it's all right. It's got some cool stuff. Now and Zen, I think, was his most popular album, and, we all remember, like, Heaven Knows and Tall Cool One. I'm the Tall Cool One, and, But this album... has Other Arms, which is great. It's got In the Mood, which is great. It's got Messin' with the Mekon, which is great. It's got Reckless Love. It's got Horizontal Departure. It's got Big Log, of course. This album is fucking solid as fuck. And I was 13 when this album came out. And I totally overlooked it because, we didn't give a fuck about Robert Plant. Dude, Zeppelin was dead, in 1980. So... I wasn't like, oh, dude, I got to follow Robert Plant because I love him. Not until years and years later. Fuck, years later. I mean, we saw the videos. You can go watch the video for Big Log where he's in the little fucking abandoned diner out in the middle of the desert, abandoned gas station. It's kind of cool. I remember seeing that on MTV and shit. But that's a great fucking album. It is a great fucking album. Oh, yeah. All right. There's an album that came out in 2007, and it's got Nuna Bettencourt on it. It's got Perry from fucking Perry Farrell from fucking Jane's Addiction. And it's called Ultra Pale. It's a fucking weird album, but it's got Nuno on it, and even Nuno's solo album, like Nuno, is pretty fucking awesome too, if you want to fucking pick that up. But this album, I'm not a huge Perry Farrell fan. Portals for Pyros and fucking Jane's Addiction. Most of the time I wanted to punch that guy in the throat, but, you know, he's good for what he was good at. But But this album is fucking great, man. You want to listen to this? It's got some weird shit on it, but it's fucking good. It's got When You Wish Upon a Dog Star. It's got Kinky, The Solutionist, Insanity Reigns. This is a good album, and it's fucking totally nobody knows about it. I don't know why. Well, because it didn't do shit. Because nobody gave a fuck. So, oh yeah. Smashing Pumpkins, Smash Mouth. Wow. Oh, I'm looking for a soundtrack album. It's gonna be the last album I'm gonna cover. When I was a kid, there was a movie that came out in 1969, and it was a musical, and it was like 3 hours long. I have it. It's called Paint Your Wagon. Come along. And the movie had Clint Eastwood, had Harv Parnell, right? He sings fucking The Wind, and they call the wind Mariah. And so this album was playing constantly. I think I'm at the wrong spot. And this is one of those albums, you know, when you're a kid and your parents play something like Into the Fucking Ground, that it becomes part of the, you know, your DNA. Well, Paint Your Wagon soundtrack is part of my DNA. It really is. It's somebody went bow bow. Oh my god, what the fuck? So this will take forever. So, anyways, yeah, it was Paint Your Wagon soundtrack. You know, it's a Western movie where they discover gold and they both marry the same chick and like Jane Steenberg, you know, right? Jane Seberg. And it had Clint Eastwood singing on it. It had fucking Lee Marvin singing fucking songs on it. And it's just one of those albums that just sticks with you. It's like listening to the Ghostbusters soundtrack. You're just like, fuck, dude. It's just like part of you. And they called the wind Mariah. Go to album. Wild West, they've got a name for rain and wind and fire. The rain is Tess, the fire's Joe, and they call the wind Mariah. That's one of those albums that kind of just like finished marking the landscape of my fucking childhood. Was like listening to fucking Paint Your Wagon soundtrack, man. It was like Jesus. It was like No Name City, the Lord ain't welcome here. You know, it's got fucking, and crud's a good sign, and crawling with ooze. Ooze is all right. The rich, they got hope. Or no, the poor, they got hope. The rich can buy soap. That Nitty Gritty Dirt Band where they sang, hand me down that can of beans. 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 I'm throwing it away. Out the window goes the bean. Out the window goes the bean. Out the window goes the bean. They're there to stay. Ow! I still see Elisa. She keeps on returning. Little Clint Eastwood, little Lee Marvin. It's fucking awesome. Paint Your Wagon soundtrack. There you go. There's just my rambling of non-metal, not really metal albums that like are fucking great. Go fucking look at them. Go find them. Go find some albums and fucking enjoy stuff that's not just metal. You'd be surprised. And like I said, there's some dark shit on albums that aren't exactly metal. Listen to fucking Balboa Park from fucking Bruce Springsteen. You'll be like, oh shit. Everybody stay metal. Everybody have a great day out there. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget, leave fucking comments and tell me what some of your favorite non-metal albums are. And we'll fucking say, yeah.